Because when you understand that it is about the glory of God and the manifestation of such beauty that you must be strengthened in your inner man on the day you stand before the Christ, because if you are not strengthened in some supernatural fashion, His mere beauty will drive you mad. Christianity is about that glory. Now also, the decrees are fixed. That seal represents that what God has decreed to do, it cannot be changed by anything in heaven, earth, or hell. The most well-meaning angel cannot bring a change to a jot or tittle. The greatest demon in hell cannot affect what is written on that scroll. Listen to what he says in Ecclesiastes 7:13. Consider the work of God, for who is able to straighten what He has bent? No one. Oh, He is not this little God sitting there on some tin throne with a papier-mâché crown on His head, wringing His hands, wondering what's going to become of His plan. He knows what's going to become of His plan. There will be victory because it hangs upon one who is worthy, and that is the Christ. Now also, God's decrees are hidden from men unless He chooses to reveal them. It says in Deuteronomy 29:29, the secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our sons forever. Do you realize something? Listen to me. Those who don't think much of Scripture reading or preaching, do you realize that men and women far more noble than you would have given their lives to hear the things you are hearing and to see the things you are seeing? Oh, if God would just take away our ignorance, if He would take away this dullness of mind that causes us to chase after things that do not matter. If we would only in our hearts return to those things that are truly precious in the sight of God. Ramsey writes this: in God's government, nothing is left to chance. To Him, nothing is uncertain. No unforeseen contingency can arise. And there is no crisis unprovided for. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now in verse 2, it says, and I saw a strong angel proclaiming in a loud voice. Now we all know that angels are quite strong. At least that's what it seems in the Scriptures. So if it was just an angel, or maybe even a small angel, we would be amazed. But it says clearly that here is an unusually strong angel proclaiming in an unusually loud voice. Now what is he trying to show us? He's saying that the message, the declaration that this angel is about to make is not confined to a certain region in the world or a certain region in the cosmos, but his voice travels throughout the entirety of the universe. And what does he ask? Read on. He says, who is worthy to open the book and to break its seals? The word worthy comes from the Greek word axios. It's an adjective meaning literally weighty, having weight, or having worth. When you're in an argument with someone and you trump their contradiction, they say, well, that's a weighty argument. That's a worthy argument. It has worth. It has value. And the question being asked here is, who has the weight, the worth, the virtue, the merit, the strength corresponding to the greatness of the task? Now, who is able to reveal, but not just reveal, also enact or bring to completion the decrees of God leading up to the final redemption of the church and the final restoration of creation? Verse 3, and no one in heaven or on the earth or under the earth was able to open the book or to look into it. First of all, we understand that a search has been made throughout the entirety of the universe. Secondly, we find out that not even the greatest of angels are able to answer the call. We have no mention here of Gabriel coming forth or of Michael standing up and saying, I am the one. When we look among the greatest of men, we could go to Noah, but he's absent. Abraham, Moses, he's silent. Surely Isaiah, Jeremiah, one of the prophets of old, no, they sit in their seat. They do not move. They know they are not able to answer the call. As a matter of fact, if all the most precious creatures in heaven were to join forces of strength, of intellect, of purity, of spirituality, none of them as a collective unit would be able to rise up and say, we shall do the task. No one. Ramsey writes, in vain is this call made. The whole universe is silent. It seems to stand appalled at the very idea of such a work being committed to creature hands. Cease writes, angels shrunk back from it as beyond their qualifications. Heavenly principalities and powers stood mute and downcast as they surveyed the requirements of the work. Do you know one of the great evidences of true conversion is that if someone comes to you and even hints that your virtue or merit had something to do with your right standing before God, you become so nauseous as to vomit. You turn from them and say, away, away. Here this great call is made, and all of creation hangs its head, almost sick at even the possible suggestion that one of them or all of them together might be worthy. Now, we read in verse 4, then I began to weep greatly because no one was found worthy to open the book or to look into it. Literally, John began a great weeping or a wailing. There is no one able, no one, to open up the seals, reveal the plan of God. But most importantly, there is no one able to take that book out of his hands and enact the decrees and bring the work of God's salvation to its final completion. Cease writes, John knew, this is so amazing, John knew by that Spirit in which he was what that sealed book meant. He knew that if no one was found worthy and able to take it from the hand of God and to break its seals, that all the promises of the prophets and all the hopes of the saints and all the things associated with a redeemed world must fail. He understood that if there was a failure at this point, the redemption of the purchased possession must fail. Could it be possible that this should be? Had he all this while been hoping and preaching and prophesying what should, after all, not be accomplished? Was the promised inheritance now at the ripened moment for its recovery to go by default into eternal alienation? How could he bear the thought? Yet such were some of the suggestions of this interval of blankness, an awful pause in heaven. We are so dull about the things of God that someone would suggest that something might not happen that He decreed, and we are so dull in our understanding that we do not think it's a big deal. John came undone. He knew if only one aspect of God's plan fails or cannot be enacted, then the whole thing is gone. There is no hope at all. You know, there's a saying out there that men are so spiritually minded, they're no earthly good. I say men are so earthly minded, they're no good in heaven or earth. Do you see what's going on here? We care more about our balancing of our checkbooks, about whether or not we have the right home or the right car or the right clothing or this and that. We fret about so many things. But John was a seer. He could see that all the earthly things do not matter. The decrees of heaven being carried out on the earth is the only thing that matters. Oh, give me 25 men. who realize that the only thing that matters on this planet is the carrying out of the decrees of God, and they will march like an army this world has never seen.